there you have it. Yan po ang kailangan nyong malaman po no, sa National Sports Summit 2021. Para po clear sa ating lahat, tayo po ay nasa phase 1 pa lang po ng ating summit, and we will be needing you pa rin po no, as we go back, as we go further po pala sa ating mga next phase ng ating summit. And we're very uh, we're very lucky po to be joined today and by some of our PSC officials to give this welcome message. Can we all welcome PSI National Training Director and the Project Director of the National Sports Summit 2021, Mr. Mark Edward Velasco. Hello po, sir.
So thank you, Joas. To our participants from various stakeholders around the country, from DepEd teachers to sports practitioners, I'd like to welcome you to our 12th session of our National Sports Summit. And today we have a very good, one of the most capable minds in the Philippine sports community. We urge you to just absorb and relax and really listen to what Mr. Tom Carrasco Jr. is about to share. It's going to be a very fruitful and informative afternoon for all of us. Once again, I'd like to welcome you all to the National Sports Summit. Thank you and good afternoon.
Maraming salamat po, Sir Mark Velasco. Very fruitful po. No? We're looking forward for that. Also, last but definitely not the least to deliver her inspirational message on behalf of the PSC board and celebrating her birthday, no, kasama po tayong lahat ngayong hapon na ito. Can we all welcome our Lady Commissioner, PSC Commissioner, Celia Kiram. Gandang hapon po, ma'am. There you go, ma'am.
Yes, okay. Magandang hapon, Joas. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. It's my working birthday, actually. Thank you. So I'm here to give an inspiration. I hope I can inspire you. Okay, thank you so much for inviting me, and I hope I can give you an inspiration today regarding the topic. When we speak of support for national athletes, it means an encompassing system that engages both government and private entities directly involved in the welfare and training of the so-called cream of the crop. At the onset of pandemic, there was a great turnaround of the athletes, training, and most probably the way they navigate their training manners and style. The many months of missing high performance training and their adjustments to new training schedules and system is no joke. Our athletes are facing numerous challenges and uncertainties, and this can be very stressful. Reason, adequate and appropriate support system at this point is indispensable. Handling them requires a collective effort, though, of the Philippine Sports Commission, their coaches, the National Sports Association officials, their parents, and families. We must all be ready to support our athletes in keeping them stay positive as things continue to change. With that, let's all be ready to offer support, especially to those who might be experiencing a range of emotions from grief to disappointment. We know that their sports is their identity. Thus, missing on this puts them at higher risk to mental health and challenges as they fall to do their sports, which to them are their self-defining activities. We can all help our athletes develop coping strategies and mental resilience to these challenges during pandemic. They need space and venue to express their feelings and work through them without judgment. We need to instill in them confidence that they must continue to lead by example. as they are considered models of the youth. Thus, they must be guided on how to reach and handle the changes that COVID-19 is causing them. Let's help them teach that it's important to stay positive to those who directly handle them, like their coaches. Let's not stop reminding them that athletes across the world are experiencing the same uncertainties as they do. They may also adopt a different perspective aside from focusing on their athletic skills. They should also focus on what they can do to take care of themselves as a whole. Character building and value formation during times of adversity preserve athletes well. While fears and uncertainties are truly engulfing, we all have a role to play to help them calm their fears. Being creative and innovative in training at the new normal is a big challenge to coaches and sports policymakers. As the athletes slowly go back to training, it is doubly important to provide them mental health support to manage thoughts and feelings of fears to avoid an adverse effect on their quality of life and performance. The Philippine Sports Commission continue to provide the necessary support system that is needed most at this period. A lot of them have already gone to the outskirts and provinces for safer training. Others are closely being handled by our sports medicine professionals in bubble trainings. Sports is an integral part of and a requirement to a lifelong healthy habit, is now facing a new handling. Navigating the way they train must be looked up to in the same manner as a focus on their safety and health. To us, foremost is still their health and life. And realizing this is a collective effort. So let's join hands to handle the present situation in coping adversities in this pandemic time. Marami pong salamat at magandang hapon sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much po, PSC Commissioner Celia Kiram, and we wish you kasama po ng mga participants po natin, everyone here sa National Sports Summit. We wish you happy birthday. Stay safe, ma'am. And we're praying for you.
Thank you so much, Joas.
And alam niyo po, today's session is one of the many lectures we will be having para po sa first phase ng ating summit. As said earlier, ito pong sports conversations will be presided over by recognized figures from local to the international sports scene to deliver short lectures in the online conference format. And afterwards, an open forum will be facilitated to gather insights and views as a synthesis for every session. Kaya po, to help us on that matter po, our moderator. Let me introduce to you our moderator for this afternoon. Ang ating pong moderator was a member of the first sports technical mission to China in 1980 under the aegis of the Department of Youth and Sports Development, where he served as an executive assistant to the undersecretary at 23 years old. And he was also a member of the sports technical mission to Australia in 1995, this time under Philippine Sports Commission, where he was acting deputy executive director when he left. He and the late Commissioner Celso Dairit collaborated in the realization of the Philippine National Games. And he served also in various committees of the Philippine Olympic Committee, such as the Olympic Awards, Technical, Sports for All, Media, Education and Culture, and Women in Sports. He also worked as project director for NSA Affairs. And when the Philippine Sports Hall of Fame was finally operationalized in 2010, some 10 years after it was established, he was tapped by two-time Olympian Art Macapagal, the chair, to be one of the members of the Pioneer Committee. With then PSC Chairman Harry Angping as Vice Chair, the membership included ex-Congressman Ranjit Shahani and now Congressman Abraham Tolentino, the POC President. Of all the NSAs he had been connected, He is fondest of Triathlon Association of the Philippines from 1991. He was held he has held the position of Vice President, Secretary General, Deputy Secretary General, and Public Relations Officer. He is the incumbent treasurer. And currently, ang ating pong moderator is the holder of Certificate of Physical Education from the defunct National College of Physical Education under the Philippine Amateur Athletic Federation, and Certificate of Sports Management from United States Sports Academy, and is a board member for life of Samahang Kickboxing ng Pilipinas, a Deputy Secretary General of Wushu Federation of the Philippines, advisor of Kickboxing Pilipinas, and was also a part of the Federation of Eskrima Kali Arnis Philippines and Skateboarding and Roller Sports Association of the Philippines, and consultant to the Pickleball Federation of the Philippines. Can we all welcome our moderator for this afternoon, Mr. Red A. Dumok. Magandang hapon po sa inyo, sir.
Maraming salamat, Joas. Well, I have prepared a 4-page introduction for our speaker because we've been together for more than 40 years now. But I'll try to cut it down to maybe just 1 page. I am deeply honored and pleased to introduce our speaker, a true blue sportsman who was molded at the University of the Philippines to delve into tea accounts. We go back a long way. In the early 80s, as the running boom was cresting, we stood on the opposite sides of the two major outfits of road racing organizers. Unity and harmony only pervaded the running scene when the Association of Road Race Organizers, or ARO, was formed. This ushered in our working together. We both became ARO presidents, and I followed him. Let me digress a bit, because ARO has a powerhouse cast then. June Castro and Pete Watchon, two of the founders, became board of commissioners of the Philippine Sports Commission first batch. And another founder, Perry Mecki, became the second chairman of the Philippine Sports Commission. In 1991, when the presidency of the Triathlon Association of the Philippines, that needs rejuvenating, fell on his lap, he brought me along. While I was a generalist, getting involved in various sports, our speaker, a specialist that he was, had a laser focus on nurturing his new baby. Consider these. At the international level, he's sitting as treasurer in the International Triathlon Union, now called World Triathlon, from 2008 to 2012, was sandwiched by his stint as board member from 2004 to 2008, and then from 2013 to 2015. At the continental level, he occupied the post of Senior Vice President of the Asian Triathlon Confederation, or ASTC, from 2002 to 2015, and as board member from 2019 to 2023. At the regional level, he presides over the Southeast Asian Triathlon Association, or SHATA, until 2023 from 2019. Locally, after 2 years respite, he has reclaimed the presidency of the Triathlon Association of the Philippines, or TRAP. He had headed since 1991. Under his direction, TRAP has more than a fair share of achievements from athletes and coaches and technical officials development to hosting of continental championships. We could not cite here, as it would eat a big chunk of our time. Suffice to mention, the results of the triathlon competition in 2015 2017 and 2019 Southeast Asian Games are a testament to Trap's success. As a measure of the esteem accorded by his peers, they voted him to the chairmanship of the Philippine Olympic Committee and as board member for the terms 2012 to 2016 and 2001 to 2004, respectively. He acted as chef de mission of the Team Philippines to the 2002 Busan Asian Games, where Mikey Kohong Jaworski cleans an equestrian gold medal. Mikey jumped 8 years ago to the International Olympic Committee as representative to the Philippines. Currently, he is an IOC executive board member. Our speaker also served as CDM of the Team Philippines to 2017 Sapporo Winter Games and 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. As executive director, with his expertise and competence, he has amassed serving Filipino sports for 4 decades. Our speaker vastly contributed to the excellent running of the 2019 Southeast Asian Games the Philippines dominated. Let me cap my introduction that our speaker is not only a sports servant. He has organized 3 servant leaderships on faith, public service, and in business. By the way, our speaker served as president of the Laguna Chamber of Commerce and Industry for 2 two-year terms, a payback from a certified public accountant. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow sportsmen and sportswomen, I give you Mr. Thomas Tom Carrasco Jr.
Thank you, Red, for such generous, really very generous introduction. Thank you, National Sports Summit, for inviting me to be part of this forum. I feel privileged and honored, and I'd like to share with you whatever things I've learned in sports. Our agenda this afternoon, or this session, are: what is an elite athlete? How can we become an elite athlete? Third is personality traits of an elite athlete. What await a national athlete? Rewards of elite athletes as podium finishers or winners. There are many definitions or concepts of elite athlete. Experts say there are 5 descriptors of eliteness: competitive level, training volume, training and competitive experiences, physiological capability, and sporting performance. For our purpose this afternoon, we won't delve into technical aspects. We would simply define elite athlete as an individual who has represented or being trained to represent his or her country in a major international competition, such as Southeast Asian Games or Southeast Asian Championships, Asian Games or regional championships, continental games, World Cup, World Championships, and finally, Olympic Games. It is interchangeable with high performance athlete. Moving on, how one can become an elite athlete. The Philippine National Games, inaugurated in 1994 by then President Fidel V. Ramos, is an integrated Olympic-style multi-sports national competition. It is envisioned to be the centerpiece of government's physical fitness and sports development program, which would spur activities in the grassroots level and enhance the development of elite athletes for international competitions. main objective of the PNG is to serve as the pinnacle of a unified sports promotion and development program, bring together in harmony and solidarity all sectors in sports, public and private. The Palarong Pambansa and other local sports competitions organized by the LGUs and the private sector shall serve as feeder and preparatory program for the PNG. These are the sports played in the PNG. This is inclusive of the para sports such as boccia and goal ball and para swimming, para chess, and all others. As you can see, there are sports whose NSAs are recognized by both POC and PSC and yet not included in the PNG sports calendar. These particular sports have their own qualifying competitions, mainly the respective national championships. Majority of the NSAs put premium also on the respective national championships, meaning PNG is not the sole basis for the selection of the national pool. The NSAs in football and basketball are different. While their sports are played in the PNG, they maintain their own training pool whose athletes come from the various clubs participating in their leagues. Football has field foreigners, and so is basketball. Although basketball, depending on the international tournament they are participating in, also has foreign imports devoid of Filipino blood. Now, this is very important. It is the NSAs that select and name the athletes and recommend them to the PSC for inclusion in the respective sports national training pool or NTP. PSC recognizes the powers of the NSAs to adopt, in coordination with the POC, a training program for the development of the athletes and their preparation for international competitions. That's under Republic Act 6847, Section 13. And to select the athletes, coaches, and other officials for their national teams, taking into consideration not only their athletic abilities, but also their discipline, moral character, aptitude, and attitude. Similarly, the POC or the Philippine Olympic Committee recognizes the functions of the NSAs to, first, to adopt a program for organization strengthening, such as but not limited to development programs for the training of the athletes for international competitions, and to select the athletes, trainers, coaches, technical officials for its national teams, taking into consideration, again, not only their athletic abilities, but also their moral character, respectively of the POC Constitution and bylaws. What are now the personality traits of elite athletes? Scientists and sports psychologists have not yet concluded just how much of an athlete's success is talent and ability and how much is psychological. And yet, there doesn't seem to be an athlete or coach on earth who would argue that the latter is unimportant. One sports scientist, Daniel Brown, even asserts that a lack of certain personality trait could help to explain why some individuals gifted at sport don't thrive at elite level. A company named Sports Management Degree Guide has listed 20 distinguishing personality traits that seem to set apart the most successful high-performing athletes. First is self-confidence. Self-confidence is not just a phrase for cheesy motivational posters. For high-performing athletes, it's an entire way of life. The best athletes are self-confident by nature. They believe they can make it to the top step of the podium, even if that self-confidence is sometimes propped up by blood, sweat, tears, and a ton of sacrifice. Second trait is a strong sense of motivation. It takes more than a shiny medal or hefty incentive check to motivate the world's best athletes. Rather, high-performing athletes are motivated by their desire to beat their competition, crush their current personal best, and prove to themselves their hard work wasn't for nothing. Third is inner desire to succeed. An athlete's biggest competition is himself. Like the sense of motivation, an inner desire to succeed drives an athlete to his or her best effort and every time. No matter what it is that spurs on the drive, the roar of the crowd, the glint of the gold medal, money for the family, overseas trip to Malacanang or to the Congress for the winners, the need to succeed must first come from within. Fourth is natural goal setter. No beginning athlete is ready for the Olympics, the World Series, the Grand Prix, the World Cup, the Tour de France, or the Super Bowl. The athletes who get to the world-class events do so by setting realistic, achievable goals, then working hard to attain their goals one step at a time. For high-performing athletes, the ability to set and achieve goals tend to come naturally. Fifth is self-discipline. There's a famous saying that goes something like, to become an overnight success, it takes 10 years of hard work. No one knows this truth better than the high-performing athlete. Early mornings, sore muscles, broken bones, sacrifices. The self-discipline that comes with putting the sport first is another distinguishable trait of high-performing athletes. Number 6 is optimism. An intrinsic sense of optimism goes hand in hand with self-confidence and is yet another distinguishable personality trait of high-performing athletes. To be the best, an athlete must believe that she can beat the best and anything else that gets in her way. An athlete who doubts herself will never cross the finish line in front. Seventh is sense of belonging. High-performing athletes all share a sense of belonging. For successful team players, this means feeling part of the team and knowing they play a valuable role. For individual athletes, this means knowing they belong amongst the best in the world and maybe even the history books. 8 is natural leader. High-performing athletes tend to be natural leaders, both on and off the field. Leaders are known for their focus, sense of motivation, and innate ability to bring out the best in both themselves and those around him. Traits shared with top-tier athletes. Number 9, willingness to take criticism. No athlete makes it to the top on their own. Top-tier athletes understand the importance of remaining coachable. That is, taking criticism at every opportunity and learning from it. Humility is number 10, a very important one. A humble athlete neither underestimates nor overestimates his abilities. By doing so, he is able to keep lit an internal flame of motivation. There is always room for improvement, and that improvement will come only with more training, more coaching, more sweat, and more heart. puso, sabi ng Gilas. Number 11 is ability to manage stress. Stress has the power to debilitate just about anyone, but athletes have to deal with it on the daily. The stress of losing, stress of injury, the stress of embarrassing themselves, their coaches, and their families. This list never ends. High-performing athletes are unique in that they have the ability to manage their stress. Whether that ability comes naturally or has been learned over many years, these athletes are able to compartmentalize their worries to focus on the task at hand. Number 12 is low anxiety. Instead of allowing anxiety to take all of their energy and attention, top-tier athletes have the tendency to be low anxiety. They go with the flow. They're adaptable enough to change strategy or come up against a challenge without feeling the debilitating nerves that have ruined the dreams of so many other talented people. For some, this is natural. For others, it's the result of years of hard work spent learning to compartmentalize their greatest fears. Strong sense of focus is number 13. An athlete cannot find herself amongst the best unless she possesses a strong sense of focus. This focus allows the top athlete to remain in the moment, regardless of who is in the stands or what occurred that morning. It also means staying focused on achieving its goal as it comes, without ever forgetting the big picture. 14 is trust in the process. The journey to the top is a long one, but high-performing athletes have the unique psychological trait of trusting in the system. They understand that success isn't going to come without setbacks, probably a lot of them. But they also understand that with each setback comes a learning opportunity. The process may be long, but no one becomes the best by taking the shortcut. 15th, resiliency and the ability to learn from setbacks. Loss is inevitable. Even the best athletes in the world have faced defeat on the world's biggest stages. It's resiliency that sets the good athletes apart from the great ones. The latter have the distinguishable personality trait to continue moving forward regardless of whatever setbacks, the learning experiences that they face. Vulnerability is number 16. Vulnerability may seem like the last thing that should be on the list of distinguishing personality traits of high-performing athletes. And yet, it's extremely important. Vulnerable athletes realize that failure is inevitable and that they can learn from that failure than they do success. Each time a vulnerable athlete falls or loses or makes a game-ending mistake, their resolve to get stronger and better grows. Number 17, perfectionism. In sports, as with anything else, perfectionism can be both a positive or negative psychological trait. True perfection is unattainable. So many athletes become overwhelmed by the idea they are anything but. However, for high-performing athletes, it's more than just about the quest for perfection than the actual achievement of it. It's about the journey, not the destination. When properly harnessed, The strive for perfection leads to a training mindset and ultimately unflappable consistency. Killer instinct is number 18. How many exciting wins have come down to a corner cut, a gutsy pass, or risk taken? High-performing athletes have the killer instinct. They also have the courage to make tough, spur-of-the-moment decisions that often mean the difference between winning and losing. Number 19, willingness to fight. Top athletes know well how important it is to fight to the end. A final push of effort, even when the tank is empty, often separates the winner from the losers. High-performing athletes have an innate sense of aggression and fight to ensure that they have always crossed the finish line, having given their all. And finally, appreciation. High-performing athletes exhibit appreciation through the shedding of blood, sweat, and tears. They appreciate the early mornings, the relentless long travels, the devoted friends and teammates, and every single other challenge. They appreciate the experiences because they get to continue chasing the goals and the dreams which consume them. In summary, these are the winning traits of high-performing athletes. Moving on, what await an elite athletes under normal times? First is coaching. Without question, the quality of coaching and the athlete-coach relationships are the essential features in developing athletes. No other single factor is as important. The quality of coaching determines the quality of training environment. Athletes will not develop far without quality coaches creating and directing an intelligent training plan. The commitment of the coach to top achievement or realistic goals sets the tone of training. The time coach has available is important to establishing adequate training. Often the time a coach has available depends on the degree he can be paid for his coaching responsibilities. The number of athletes a coach must train influences the quality of training. The number of responsibilities other than coaching, a coach must undertake detracts from his or her ability to coach successfully. The Philippine Sports Commission, fortunately, is finding ways and means to close the gap between the salaries of foreign and local coaches so that the latter could be convinced to work on full-time basis. The incentives, which is 50% of what athlete medalists gets, also serve as motivator. Second is facilities and equipment. Frequently, the lack of facilities and equipment is a limiting factor to sports development. Unless these problems are resolved, it will be difficult to develop athletes to the highest levels. However, many Olympic athletes have been successful despite substandard training facilities and equipment because of their high motivation and commitment to hard work. Many examples can be given where coaches and athletes improvise in order to create an adequate training environment. Sometimes, overcoming difficult training conditions strengthens the athlete's resolve and provides an advantage to him or her tough competition. The Philippine Sports Commission and the NSAs collaborate to improve training facilities and to create positive environment which encourages proper training. We now go to athlete support. To enable the athlete to achieve reasonably high league level goals, adequate support system to provide opportunity. Besides the obvious requirements of good coaching and adequate facilities, the elite athlete is given the following: dormitory or housing space where he and the other elite athletes and their coaches are housed so that they don't have to worry about rent or transport money. The same is close to their training venue. For some athletes, their dorm is located within the same building as their training venue, like wushu fighters and artists, judokas, boxers, penchat silat athletes, and weightlifters at the Rizal Memorial Sports Complex. Access to medical and physiotherapy support when needed, and free treatment, hospitalization, inclusive of rehabilitation when injured. Next is free medical consultation, access to psychological and nutritional advice, which is really very important as far as nutrition or what kind of food the athletes eat. Access to weight training gym manned by experienced strength trainer, enough time away from school or work to train, adequate rest and diet at the cafeteria, continual stimulation and encouragement which creates a positive training environment and shows support for the aspiration of the athlete. Next one is administrative support. This is basically a job for the NSA. In order to develop a well-organized training and competitive program, there must be good planning and a fair degree of admin support to the athlete. Ideally, the coach should coach, the athlete train, and the administration do all the rest. Admin support includes travel arrangements and liaising with PSC, arranging for transportation, arranging training facilities, contact with media, promotion, sponsors, sometimes sponsors, and meetings. It is extremely important that the administrator realize the important focal point for their activities are the athletes and the coach. Next is foreign training and competition. The level of performance of the athlete rises if given the opportunity to train abroad in a country where the competitive level of the athletes are higher than his or her own. There are fewer distractions than here in the country. Foreign competition provides the ultimate test, where all the factors such as skill, physical conditioning, knowledge, motivation, strategy are tested together. Careful evaluation of the results of the competition can allow a coach to pinpoint strengths and weaknesses and to adjust training if necessary. In our case in triathlon, we send our best triathletes to the Desmore training camp in Lisbon, Portugal, or Rio Maior in Portugal, where they have the complete facilities. If for regional training facilities, we also use the Johor Bahru training facilities as an alternative for our duathlon national team. The next one is financial support. The elite athletes are classified according to their track records or performances in international competitions. Their stipends are contingent on their classification. You will see in this classification table the platinum, 45,000 for the Olympic medalists, priority A, priority B. The Youth Olympic Games is under priority B. Priority C is the Paralympic Games, gold, silver, bronze. Class A will be the Asian Beach Games and pre-qualifying tournaments towards world level competition. Class B is SEA Games gold medalist, 27,000, or ASEAN Para Games for the Olympians, for the chess grandmaster. And Class C for silver medalists in SEA Games and ASEAN Games. And for team sports, medalists will get 17,000 each. Training pool, non-medalists downgraded. In the new entries, the entry point now I think is 10,200. Alternates and sparring partner gets the same. Under Republic Act 10699, an act expanding the coverage of incentives granted to national athletes and coaches, appropriating funds, therefore repealing for the purpose of Republic Act 9064, the following are the benefits and privileges for the national athletes. Number one is domestic transportation privileges, air and sea transportation privileges, 20% discount on fares, including baggage allowances, domestic air and sea travel. Public land transport privileges, 20%, LRT, MRT, PNR, fares in buses, jeepneys, Uber, Grab, taxi, and shuttle services. Second is on hotel and similar lodging facilities. 20% discount shall be for room accommodations and other amenities offered by the establishment, such as hotel-based parlors, barbershop, restaurants, massage parlor, workout gyms, swimming pool, etc. For restaurants, the 20% discount shall be for the purchase of food, drinks, dessert, and other consumables served by the establishments offered for the consumption of the general public. Of course, for dining services, the privileges must be personally availed of by the national athlete or coach. The discount will apply only to his share, not to his companions. Number three is recreation centers. They also have the privilege of 20% discount for the utilization of services in the form of fees, charges, and rental for any sports facilities and equipment and other accessories, gadgets relative to sports and recreational services, including cart rentals, green fees, ballroom dancing fee, yoga, badminton courts, and other rentals. Number four is medicine and drug purchases. 20% discount shall apply to the purchase of generic and branded medicines and drugs by the national athlete or coach, including vaccines, vitamins, and mineral supplements prescribed by a physician at any drugstore. Fifth is sports equipment purchase. This one we have to be very careful. The 20% discount shall apply to the purchase of any sport equipment for the actual and exclusive use or enjoyment of the national athlete or coach. A sports equipment or sporting goods refers to any object used for sport or exercise, which may include game equipment such as, but not limited to, balls, rackets, nets, goals, and bats. Player equipment such as, but not limited to, footwear, protective equipment, and training equipment. In this case, the National Sports Association of the national athlete and coach will have to submit a written endorsement for the procurement of these sports and equipment. And that is very important. Number six admission fees privileges. A minimum of 20% discount shall be applied to admission fees charged by theaters, cinema houses, concert halls, leisure and amusement, including but not limited to fairs, parks, museums, exhibit halls, and theme parks. Free medical and dental consultations is number 7. Professional fees for medical and dental consultations rendered to national athletes and national coaches, whether outpatient or in the emergency setting, in all government health facilities, including GOCC hospitals, shall be provided free of charge. Health insurance. The national athlete or national coach shall be covered in the National Health Insurance System or Program NHIP of the PhilHealth or the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation through the sponsored programs of the PSC. Number 9, Social Security Program. The comprehensive coverage of the national athlete or national coach shall be in accordance with the existing Social Security Program of the SSS. I guess this would involve the athlete going on his self-employed, meaning he'll be paying for the premiums of both the employee and the employer. But we have to clarify this one with SSS. Number 10 is livelihood program. The national athlete or national coach shall have priority in existing livelihood programs being undertaken by various government agencies subject to the guidelines and qualifications by the implementing body of the program. Number 11 is housing. The national athlete or national coach shall have priority in national housing programs, affordable pabahay loans, and other housing opportunities subject to the guidelines and qualifications set by the National Housing Authority or NHA or the Home Development Mutual Fund, HDMF. Living quarters is number 12. I think this is similar to number 1, dormitory. The national athlete or national coach shall have priority for the use of living quarters and training centers maintained by the PSC for the exclusive use of the national training pool members while preparing and training for international sports competition. Let's now move to the rewards of elite athletes as podium finishers or winners. Cash incentives for individual events is as follows. First, the biggest one is the Summer or the Winter Olympics of $10 million for the gold, plus an Olympic gold medal of valor. Silver will get 5 million pesos. Bronze will get 2 million. For the second-tier Youth Olympic Games and Paralympic Games, 5 million pesos and an Olympic gold medal of valor, 2,500,000 for the silver and 1 million for the bronze. Asian Games or Continental Championships, 1,400,000 for the gold, silver, and bronze. Asian Para and world level competitions, 1,500,000 and 200,000 for gold, silver, and bronze. Asian Beach Games, Asian level competitions like Asia Cup for triathlon or Asia Cup in boxing, 500,000. I think this is less, 100,000 for bronze. We have an error here. SEA Games is 300,000 for gold, 150 for silver, and 60,000 for bronze. ASEAN Para Games, 150 for gold, 75,000 for silver, and 30,000 for bronze. Let's move to incentives for team events. For national athletes who compete as a team, the cash incentives shall be as follows. For competitions with less than 5 participants per team, the team shall receive the same cash incentives for individual winners as herein provided, to be divided equally among the team members actually present during the competition. For competitions with 5 or more participants per team, each team member shall receive 25% of the cash incentives for individual medal winners as herein provided. Let's go to cash incentives for athletes in demonstration and exhibition sport events in the Olympics. The winning athlete in a demonstration and exhibition sports event in the Olympics shall receive 25% of the cash incentives for Olympic medalists as herein provided. Cash incentives for record breakers. Any national athlete and other athlete who surpasses the Philippine record or ranking in any measurable international sports competition shall be given cash incentives, the amount of which may be determined by the PSC. The winning national athletes also get scholarship benefits. A national athlete who wins a regular major international sports competition shall be entitled to scholarship benefits in the form of full tuition fees from state colleges or university for one or university degree. The winning athlete shall likewise be given the priority in the availment of state, college, or university scholarship grants. Private colleges and universities are encouraged to adopt a similar program in their institutions for winning athletes. For all scholarships, the winning athlete is required to meet the minimum admission requirements. Other benefits to look forward to and from private sectors are endorsement. The luxury car manufacturer Lexus has Philippine Wushu standout and 3-time SEA Games gold medalist Agatha Wong as its new brand ambassador. According to the company, it chose Wong as product endorsers because of the values she represents, namely her passion and dedication to bettering herself. Recently, we saw the announcement of the Summit Mineral Water sponsoring Hidilyn and Mr. Obiena as their product endorser. Another lady athlete was appointed as ambassador, this time not to help sell a product, but to sell persons who are athletes. Gretchen Ho has been tapped by the MVP Sports Foundation to be its ambassador. She has been a leading voice in Philippine sports and living proof that sport can be a vehicle for positive change in society, Al Panlilio said. As ambassador, Ho will help the MVPSF to drum up support and excitement among Filipinos to Tokyo Olympic-bound Team Pilipinas athletes, namely 56 kg division weightlifter Hidilyn Diaz, gymnast Kaloy Yulo, pole vaulter EJ Ubiena, and boxers Yumir Marcial, Nesty Petesio, Iris Magno, and Carlo Paalam. Also gunning for slots in the games are athletes from basketball, 5x5 or 3-on-3, taekwondo, rowing, triathlon, skateboarding, golf, and cycling. What are the additional benefits under the National Athletes Coaches Benefits Incentives Act? Retirement benefits for national athletes and coaches. Any national athlete and coach who wins in an international competition or has coached such winning national athlete shall receive a lump sum amount equivalent to 25% of his or her total cash incentives computed from the start of his active sports career as a member of the national training pool or national coaches training pool up to the last day of retirement from active competition or training as certified by the PSC. We also have the death benefits. Upon the death of any national athlete and coach, the primary beneficiary shall be entitled to a lump sum benefit of 30,000 pesos to cover for the funeral services. Moving on to athletes with strong potential to become Olympians. The POC of the Philippine Olympic Committee, which is mandated by the International Olympic Committee to organize, together with the NSAs, the preparation and selection of athletes, thereby ensuring that the Philippines is represented in the Olympic Games, as well as at regional, continental, and international games, having the patronage of the IOC. The POC nominates a number of athletes to the Olympic Solidarity who will be named as Olympic scholars. The process starts with the NSA submitting to the POC their candidates and their respective credentials and performances. The Olympic scholars are given stipends necessary for heightening their training and that could ultimately propel them to the Olympics. I think this is under the system of the Olympic Solidarity, where the IOC farm out funds to be given to to the developing or high potential athletes. And finally, which could be the most important one for the athletes, for the winning athletes, is enshrinement in the Philippines Sports Hall of Fame. Philippines' foremost ever sprinter, Lydia De Vega, after clinching her second Southeast Asian Games 100 gold medal in 1991, wished there would rise a Sports Hall of Fame to immortalize the feats of the athletes who have brought great honor and glory to the country. Being a Hall of Famer is the highest honor an athlete can aspire for. In 1999, the Philippine Sports Hall of Fame, or PHHOF, was established by virtue of Republic Act A757 for the assembly of Pioneer Hall of Famers were Olympic medalists, world champions, and world championships medalists up to 1964. Initially, an enshrinee received a cash reward of 100,000. Now it is double that sum. This year's edition will be the fourth time the Philippine Sports Hall of Fame will be having an induction ceremony. So we look forward to more high-performance athletes being rewarded and enshrined in the Philippine Hall of Fame in sports. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope I was able to give you inputs on your sports summit.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Mr. Carrasco. Well, the presentation has defined the elite athlete as an individual who was represented or being trained to represent his or her country in a major international competition. Southeast Asian Games or regional level championships, Asian Games or other continental games championships, World Championships, and Olympic Games. In other words, she is a member of the national training pool. It cited also the two pathways whereby an athlete can enter the national training pool, either through the either through the Philippine National Games or the National Sports Association's respective national championships, or both. The power of the NSA is in determining whether an individual can become an elite athlete or not is underscored, while the Philippine Olympic Committee has the final say on the country's entries to the Olympic Games, Asian Games, SEA Games, and other multi-sports competitions under the patronage of the International Olympic Committee upon the recommendation of the NSA. It was also borrowed from the Sports Management Degree Guide, a list of 20 distinguishing personality traits. The lack of some could help to explain why some individuals gifted at sport don't thrive at the elite level. The support of an athlete enjoys during training are discussed with action, and the financial support which is contingent on the classification of the athlete from 45,000 monthly for Olympic medalist or world champion to 10,200 for new entry alternate or sparring mate. And the privileges and benefits for the national athletes under Republic Act 10699 are covered. Highlighted also were the cash incentives to be awarded to the podium finishers of the various levels of competition. For example, in the Olympic Games, 10 million for the gold medalist, 5 million for the silver medalist, and 2 million for the bronze medalist. Well, a sample of benefits from the private sector is also mentioned, like endorsements, product endorsements, or endorsement of some people. And of course, the highest award any athlete could hope for, especially those who cannot be in the Olympics, is the Philippine Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you. Joas?
Thank you very much po, no, Sir Red Dumo, ang ating moderator, for that very concise session synthesis. I hope marami pong natutunan ng ating mga participants right now, no, with that lecture. Again, also thank you to our guest speaker, Sir Tom Carrasco. Thank you. Very well led and well explained po yung mga parts and components ng what really is yung support system ng isang Filipino athlete. And speaking of Filipino athlete, before we move forward po to the other parts of the program, I just want to recognize the presence of our athletes as well na have been participating the National Sports Summit. Ng ating pong Olympian and the SEA Games medalist na si Kirsty Alora is here. Hello po, ma'am. And also ang ating our guest speaker, one of our guest speaker from our session, believe session 10 of the National Sports Summit, and a triathlete, SEA Games medalist, and the POC Athletes Commission Chairman Nico Welges is also joining us this afternoon. And that being said, we just want to thank everyone, no, for really engaging po sa ating lecture kanina. We will magandang hapon po sa inyo. I'll open up as the series of questions, and ito po ano, at least you can answer this. Sabi po
Sige, go ahead,
sabi po
Joss.
ni Mr. Rinaldo Reyes has been a part of our series na po, no? Lagi po talaga siyang actively nagpa-participate from Philippine Bowling Federation. Sabi niya, Sir Tom Carrasco, do you foresee in the near future or will it be ever possible that national athletes and maybe national coaches as well, as support for their years of dedication to their sport and in lifting national pride, will be given housing or low cost socialized benefits? Thank you po and God bless.
Yeah, let me just go back to that item. So towards the towards the end of the presentation, the
Mhm.
benefits.
Mhm.
I guess that was addressed because I remember attending several technical working group sessions at the lower house and in the Senate. This is really very important as promoted by and pushed by Senator Pacquiao and also former Congressman Giao.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's part of it's very possible. It's actually the procedures now are available. The and As I mentioned in my presentation, the housing. Although I have not really seen the IRR, no, the implementing rules. It's there. Yes, it's possible. It's very much possible. Death benefits, retirement benefits, cash incentives. Yes. Number 11, the national athlete shall have priority in national housing programs and available pabahay loans and other housing opportunities subject to the guidelines and qualifications set by the National Housing Authority or the Home Development Mutual Fund. Yes, it is possible, very much possible, and they deserve that. They are much deserving of that benefit.
Mhm. Thank you, sir. Sir Red, you may read through our second question, sir. Go ahead po.
From EMCH High School, Romeo Olivay, how confident are you that our Olympians will bring home the elusive gold medal this coming Tokyo Olympics? What seems to be the missing ingredients with our previous participation compared to our preparation now?
I am more confident that we will get some medals, hopefully gold. We have the best four boxers. We have our best gymnast, a world champion. And this really gives us a lot of reason to hope for the best. I'm very optimistic that this will be a better Olympic for us. And let's see if our good athlete, Hidelin Diaz, can really push herself to win the gold over her silver in Rio.
Mhm.
Ubiena is doing very well. So ang nakita ko is that our athletes now are more confident and they are healthy. And I hope they maintain their health, their good their fitness level up to the July games. Yes, I'm very hopeful and I'm optimistic that we will do better this time.
Sir, can I can you elaborate as well, no? Kasi ang second question po doon ay what seems to be the missing ingredient daw, Sir Tom, and dun sa previous Olympic participation natin, and ano yung mga qualities na meron na yung mga qualified athletes natin now, yung on their preparation as well.
It's the training, the kind of training they're having right now. Ubiena stayed all the time in Italy where he gets the best coaching and the best facilities. The boxers are well taken care of. They have their camp in Thailand, I think, and they're well taken care of. And there are four of them. Hidilin, kung napansin nyo, lahat sila lumabas, ano? This is what we covered under foreign. You go to the place where it's more, it's better for you. You have better control of your environment. Ang naging problema ata, I was told by some gymnastics people during the time that Yulo is training here in Manila, maraming nadidistract siya. Even during the game, papakuha ng pictures, selfie, those things are gone. This batch now is well prepared and they train in the most suitable camps or environment.
Mhm.
And
Thank you, sir.
that makes a big difference.
Mhm. Sir Red, baka may add po kayo doon?
Can I add something
Yes, sir.
or question again?
Sir, if you can add. So, right po.
Huh?
Sige, sir. We'll move forward po to our next question, Sir Red.
Yeah. From DepEd Region 11, Amil Kabatuan. Tax-free rin po ba ang cash incentives na matatanggap ng ating mga athletes na nanalo? Salamat po.
Yes, I think it's net of tax. Yeah. They got tax-free
Alright.
under the Incentives Act.
Mhm. Okay. Sir, ito from DepEd to Gigarao City, sabi ni Hakova Juvie. Sir Tom, may I ask what happens to a Filipino athlete who trains outside the country? Siguro po ang context nito, ano ba yung mga benefits talaga na nakukuha nila when they go when they train outside the country, sir?
Firstly, training outside the country is more expensive than if we train here. In our case, in Portugal, my triathlete Kim Mangrobang, we pay 70 euros a day for full accommodation and all the facilities on physiotherapy, massage, laundry, etc. That's 70 euros. That's about 4,000 pesos a day. No? And the NSA would always choose the best for the athlete. Yung connection, kung sino yung coach na hawak, kung anong sistema, kasi may maraming coaching system yan eh. At kung sino yung kanyang katraining. In our case, in triathlon, our girl in Portugal trains with the Norwegian national team and national team members of Brazil. So nakita mo yung level, umaangat. And that's how the NSA makes the booking, the administrator makes the booking, the arrangements, and everything. Of course, scouting what are the facilities available and distractions. No? In our case, talagang walang distraction doon. They go there to train because their working career is to train and compete. I hope that answers the question.
Mhm. Next question, Sir Red.
From LGU Tayabas, Sarah Sagala. How can a sports event be included in the list of priority sports as well as be included in national competition? Like pickleball, which we as promoter and enthusiasts of pickleball consider it as a redeeming sports activity amidst COVID pandemic situation.
I guess you have to organize first your sports association, your group, and then get registered. No, just like I remember chalkball and all the others. They get organized. They have their sports association. They establish legal entity, and then they organize their events, and then they come to apply for membership with the Philippine Olympic Committee.
Mhm. Talagang
And eventually sa PSC.
There has to be a process talaga, Sir Tom, on this, to be
you have to recognize somebody who's responsible, and that is the NSA who will manage the sports.
Mhm.
Kasi hindi lang yan events hindi lang atleta. You also have to be a member of an international federation para meron kayong benefits of adapting training programs, coaching programs and technical officials program, and organizing events also.
Mhm.
Pwede bang susugan yung sinabi ni Ginoong Carrasco? Dahil ako po ay isang consultant ng Philippine Pickleball Federation. Ngayon po, the Pickleball Federation is already recognized by the International Pickleball Federation, and it is in the process now of seeking membership with the Philippine Olympic Committee.
Mhm.
Actually, all the requirements being required by the Philippine Olympic Committee are now being complied by the Philippine Pickleball Federation, including the 50,000 application fee, and the federation is also ready to pay another 50,000 for the membership fee, the initial membership fee. And right now, they have already press releases regarding their seeking the membership, and they have already held 2 national championships, and in fact, they have already asked some pickleball ambassadors from as far as the United States to come over and do some clinics and play with some members of the Pickleball Federation. Right now, what the federation is doing is increasing the membership
Mhm.
to shall we say better uh, to be better equipped to become member of the Philippine Olympic Committee and eventually recognized by the Philippine Sports Commission.
I'd
Alright.
say they are on the right track. Congratulations. They're on the right track. They're doing good. They're doing the right things, to do the right steps. And
Mhm.
soon, I think maybe before the end of the year, we will all see pickleball as part of the, who knows, national games.
Mhm. Mhm.
That would be the day.
Sir Tom, ito lang po ano, I would just want to add on dun sa kanina pong question about training abroad, yun no. Uh, si Sir Romel Lantin from Fit 21, he asks, why do we need to go out of the country? Sustainable po ba yon, sir, yung mga foreign exposures ng athletes, and wala po ba tayong capabilities to do what international training does? Yun po ang kanyang tanong. Ano po ang ating concept and context behind why do we put our athletes outside to train outside the country po?
Okay, as we said earlier, you go foreign training because that place suits your requirements. No, one thing that made us decide to bring somebody, our athlete, to Desmore in Portugal is the presence of a good coaching system. No, that's one. Second, the facilities. No, third, yung kanyang peers, yung kanyang kasama sa training. Kasi kung dito, she's the best here, our athlete's the best here, but she keeps on training, people she beats here. Even during the cycling and the running, pirming panalo siya nauna. But she goes to that place in Portugal, in that camp. She trains with the Norwegian team, with the Brazilian team, and I tell you, she's always motivated to beat them. But it's really very hard. Yung kanyang level, yung fitness level mo aangat. You step up, no? I know it's difficult. It's quite expensive also. But to me, the coaching system, the proper facilities, and the competition. You compete during training, you compete during competition. No?
Alright.
Iba yung, parang sa boxing ba yung sparring mo? No? You see, if boxers, I think, go to places where they can have better sparring partners. No, they go to Thailand because there are good sparring partners there.
Mhm. Hindi lang sa
Ubiena stays in Italy because there are good, the coaching system is there, the facilities is there, and also the competition andun eh. Kung andito ka, baka antay mo lang palarong pambansa, national championship, etc. No? But there, he always gets the competitive levels that the high standards that he needs to work on.
Mhm. Maganda. Sir, I'd like to reiterate on what you said, ano, na hindi lang po tayo ang PSC and the rest of the NSAs, hindi lang po tayo nagsisend ang athletes overseas for ano lang yun, sir, yung parang for the need lang to go out of the country. Pero iba po yung level ng exposure kapag kalaban nila yung actual na kalaban din nila sa competition, sir, di ba?
That's true. That's true. Even swimmers, our best swimmers are from the US. Because there's the NCAA swimming competition is really high. No,
Mhm.
they have to go other places
Mhm. That being
to
said, sir, that
go
being
ahead.
said, sabi naman ni USLS, sabi ni Sir J. Binyas from USLS, continuing on that context, sir, ano, uh, bakit po yung ibang sports have only rare opportunity for international competitions and trainings? Kung wala silang international trainings, who supports our excelling athletes in this endeavor?
It's quite unfortunate, but it is the NSA. Kaya nga pag na-identify mo na yung athlete, importante, you cannot send. There was a time when our NSA would invite a renowned coach, an Australian coach, to come here, no, and coach our team of 2025. Okay, but eventually nag-evolve kami that napili namin yung 4 or 5 very good athletes and we send them out. No, that's one evolution that we underwent. No? Is bringing the coach here, turo, camp, iwan ng technology, and then he leaves after 1 or 2 months. Ang ginawa namin after that, nakita namin yung possible high potential, mga high pot. Ito, sige, punta ka na ron. We send you there. Just like why you brought Yulo. Yulo will not train here. Aside from the somehow inadequate facilities, marami pang distraction. So you have to consider that. I believe it's the duty of the NSA para to have the vision and then mamili ng yung kanyang team, yung kanyang national championships, and then select the elite, the best among the best, and prepare a program for this best. I remember the boxing group used to get highly paid Cuban boxers, Cuban coaches, ano? But now, nalipat na ata yung technology and then they have also changed. They go outside, no? The Filipino coaches now of boxing are the ones preparing the program and they now do. Sige po tayo Thailand, they have good sparring partners there. And so the NSA decides the program.
Sir Red, I think we have...
Let's now proceed to the last question from CBSU Naik, Mr. Warren Rodil. Do naturalized athletes receive the same amount of compensation?
I think, sir, this is the context ng mga
Sa
allowances.
feel foreign ba ito?
Yes po. And these, sir, I think,
naturalized.
naturalized.
Yes, if they're part of the NTP, National Training Pool. But I guess there are some sports who can afford to pay more, no? And as far as the government allowances or stipends concerned, pare-pareho yan. Basta member ka ng walang nakalagay dong feel for ka. O ano. Like the case of that American basketball player, I think that was, I think the NSA covered his other compensation.
Siguro, sir, ito, no? I think, sir, to encapsulate, Sir Tom, what we talked about dito po sa ating open forums, directing into the elite athletes. Sir, what can we learn from sir, being the president of the Triathlon Association of the Philippines? How are you able to maintain yung program ng mga national triathletes natin? And we know they remain dun sa top 3 standings ng past 3 editions ng SEA Games. So, what's the secret learned? What can we learn behind this, sir?
Actually, yung mga key performance namin is yung SEA Games, maintain yung babae at lalaki. Parang Grand Slam champion. Gold, silver, babae at lalaki. And then top 10 finishing in the Incheon 2014 Asian Games and the Palembang 2018 Asian Games. Nag-top 10 na rin kami ron. That was my objective. Siguro maybe my successor will have, go for the Olympics na. What I have learned from my stint at the World Triathlon or the International Federation is getting exposed. Na-expose ako dun sa program ng other countries. I was sitting on the board of the World Federation, and I saw how especially the Japanese, how disciplined they are, and of course the German teams, the Belgian teams, talking to their coaches, talking to the Portuguese coach, and he has always told me that you cannot just stay there. Bring them out. Your sport is an international sport. You have to bring them out. That's what our federation president was telling the Chinese NSA also, the federation. You take out those your athletes because of course they train very well under the Chinese coaches, but they have to get out. They have to bring them out to the international, not only during competition, but also during training. That's why talagang salamat naman ako sa PSC. Mabait naman sila sa amin. Justify ko naman yung, but they saw our pattern now of us seeking assistance. Pinipili namin yung mga atleta, the best of the best, and then that's where we spent the money, the most critical financial assistance. Ganun ginawa namin. Namili lang kami, parang prioritizing. Priority ko, itong 4 na to. Then again, bigyan mo rin ako ng suporta for my coaches. Ano yan, holistic approach. Train ko, coach ko. Train ko ang, if I bring an athlete to an international competition or camp, there is an assigned local coach. Nagse-second sa international coach. So the international coach will coach the athlete kasabay ang local coach. For our international technical officials, we also send them out. So we have a number of level 2 technical officials in the World Cup, in the World Championship. Nag-officiate din sila. So that's what I do. I expose all of them. Send them out. Go international. Don't just think local. Go international.
All right.
It's expensive, but it's worth it.
I hope marami pong natutunan ng mga participants natin. Grabe, it's very insightful po. Very insightful discussion. Thank you very much to our guest speaker, Sir Tom Carrasco, and our moderator, as always, Sir Red Dumok.
Thank you
for the very cohesive open forum and synthesis. Alam ko we are bound by time restrictions, but we know everyone ay marami pa po kayong katanungan. So we would like you to send in those questions pa rin po, and that will be turned over to our research. We will now take this time to honor and award the Certificate of Appreciation to our 12th speaker of the Sports Conversations 2021, and to award the certificate, may I call again our PSC Commissioner, Celia Kiram.
Happy birthday, Com.
Ay, thank you. Thank you. Hi, Tom. Kumusta ka
Ay.
na?
Ayos lang, ingat-ingat lang.
Oo nga. So, thank you for being our resource person today. And
It's an honor, privilege.
yeah, I'm happy to see you so healthy.
Oo nga, araw-araw exercise.
Wow, that's nice. Okay, meron pa kasi ako meeting sa kabila and we, we wanted to award you this certificate of appreciation. Is presented to Mr. Tom Carrasco Jr. for his invaluable contribution as a resource per speaker for the main support system of a Filipino athlete. Session of Sports Conversation, the first phase of the National Sports Summit 2021. Given this day, May 5, 2021 via Zoom. Signed, William I. Ramirez, PSC Chairman. Tom
Thank-
Carrasco, please accept this certificate of appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Happy birthday.
Salamat,
Para po sa atletang Pilipino.
Marami pong salamat.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Celia Kiram. And